Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Love y'all. Appreciate you guys. If you're logging in all the time, make sure you have that subscribe button hit so that you guys get all the videos and the updates and whatnot. Now, we're diving straight into Mr. Alex Murdaugh's case. Now, we have Alex Tinsley. This is the lawyer that sued the Murdaugh family for the entire boat wreckage and the fatality of another young lady that Paul was driving drunk with. Well, I should say boating drunk with. So we're going to jump straight into this. As per usual, grab anything you guys need. And we're going to go straight into this situation right here.
All right. And how long you been practicing in Allendale?
Since 2000, so 22, 23 years.
Do you have a statewide practice, or is it primarily?
To the extent I want it statewide, I mean, I handle cases statewide if I'm inclined to handle those.
Okay. Primarily focused in the 14th Circuit, is that fair?
14th and the 1st.
And the first. Okay. Do you know the defendant, Alex Murdaugh?
I do.
And how did you get to know him?
He practiced law in the adjoining county. I had a number of cases with his firm, small bars in the two counties, and known him since shortly after I came to Allendale.
Clearly not friends. I don't know. The way he was like, I don't know. I met the jackass working. You know, I met the guy working. Always found him to be a funny fella. Like that type of shit. Not like, oh yeah, you know, Alex, yeah, I met. He's a cool guy. Like, you know, I'm surprised to, no.
And do you know other lawyers in the what used to be known as PMPED firm?
All of them.
And are those individuals
All
that
of
you
them.
may have had cases with, or just generally in the same line of work with over the years?
Yes.
I want to take you to February 19, and are you familiar with the boat case?
Unfortunately.
And do you represent the Beach family in the lawsuit related to the death of Miss Mallory Beach?
I do.
Yeah, that's her name, Miss Mallory Beach. Ironic, not even funny, but ironic name there. But basically, he was the lawyer, so he's, you know, kind of like, I wouldn't say the enemy of Alex Murdaugh, but definitely the nemesis, you would say, the adversary. Kind of like never really liked them, never really was an enemy, never really was like a friend. And then he got sued by him, so that kind of drove a divide even further between the two, I could imagine.
And ultimately, you ended up accepting that representation and filing suit against a number of defendants, including the criminal defendant here, Alex Murdaugh. Is that
I did.
correct? Okay.
He's
Tell
proud
the
of
court
that.
just very quickly who the defendants that you sued, at least initially, when this case started.
Mr. Waters, my recollection is that I sued Alex Murdaugh. I know I sued Luther's, which is a bar downtown in Beaufort. I sued the Woods, which was where the kids had gone for an oyster roast. I sued the Murdaugh Family Trust, which
Jeez.
owned the property where the boat was launched from, and we believed that there could have been some drinking that went on there. I'm not 100% certain in the first lawsuit if I sued Buster Murdaugh, which is
Why Buster?
Alex's son. But I think those were the defendants initially.
Bro, he went on a suing spree. He sued over 6 people or 6 entities. He sued the family trust. Now I would be mad. He sued the bar. He was suing everybody, bro. Get me this lawyer if something bad happens to me. Get me in touch because he's gonna make sure I get a payout. We're talking $1 million at least. Like, bro.
And maybe Randolph Murdaugh personally as well.
He don't even remember. He sued so many people he don't even remember. I don't blame Alex for not liking this dude, to be real. He was out here suing everybody. Look at Buster over there in the back with his little head. That's crazy.
Not long after you started the boat case, and well, let me ask you this. Did your client, Renee Beach, have any particular experience at the scene that informed how you were handling this particular case as you went forward?
She certainly had an experience that prompted the call to me.
And can you explain that to the court, please?
She wanted to go down to the bridge where the boat crash had occurred. I think this was either Monday or Tuesday, so the crash happens early Sunday morning. The scene's cordoned off, and she's told she can't go down there. And just a few minutes later, Alex's father and his wife pull up in a car, and they're waved under the tape, and they go down to the bridge.
Oh, hell no. Oh, that is a lawsuit waiting. Did you just hear that? The family member died, the mother, I believe. She goes over there and they don't let her through. Alex and them come through. No one even died for them. They're waved under the tape. Hell no, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Please.
And she was very upset by that.
Okay.
You don't say.
Did she, in your discussions with her, did she give you any particular instructions about proceeding forward in this particular case as part and based on that experience?
Sue their asses off.
No. Nobody really gives me instructions.
I understand.
Whoa, hold on, dog. Jeez, a little egotistical there, aren't you? But hey, I wouldn't give him no instructions. He just sued 7 people. I wouldn't know what to instruct them. I'd be like, hey, sir, I have a problem. I'm going to pay you this much. I need some money. I'll get to the job. That's all I want to hear. You do it the way you do it.
All right.
No one really instructs me, sir.
Not long after you
Okay.
get involved in this case, did you have any chance to review and look at any insurance coverages that may be available to the defendant?
Sure. My recollection is within a week, certainly 2-week kind of time frame after the boat crash, Danny Henderson, who was handling the boat crash as Alex's personal lawyer, brought me all of Alex's insurance policies. And so I reviewed them at that time, before I filed the lawsuit.
Now, what was the purpose of you reviewing those policies?
You know, in a civil case, the only thing that we can do to try to, under the law, make a party whole is recover money damages. And oftentimes, when we are drafting lawsuits, we will try to draft the initial lawsuit to make sure that there's insurance coverage. So that was the reason I wanted the coverage. And beyond that, sometimes, like I did with some of the initial defendants, you can, because of the circumstances, because of the culpability, how bad the liability is, how catastrophic the loss is. Many times insurance companies can be leveraged to pay their insurance out, to get these people closure. No amount of money is going to make them whole. So the best that we can do is try to get them some closure and help them heal.
Is there a particular conference that those in your line of work go to?
It used to be called the Trial Lawyers Conference. But yeah, it's in Hilton Head, and I went in 2019 of August.
Did you see the defendant there?
I did.
And did you have a conversation with him about the boat case?
I did.
All right, can you relate that conversation to the court, please?
Yeah. I think, I'm not 100% certain that it was a fundraiser either for Mr. Harpootlian or it was a fundraiser for Lindsey Graham.
Oh, so Alex Murdaugh and Harpootlian, they're OGs. Like, I don't even know how he could represent Murdaugh if, like, you know, conflict of interest. I don't know, but you can tell they go back. They're at a fundraising for Harpootlian. Come on now.
As you come into the hotel, there's a gathering area. It's in the evening before everyone goes to dinner, or it's immediately after. I'm not 100% certain. But the room's full of lawyers, and Alex sees me, and he comes across, and he gets up close in my face and says, "Hey, Bo, what's this I'm hearing about what you're saying? I thought we were friends."
Hey, Bo, what's this I'm hearing about? Imagine Alex Murdaugh with his beady, ugly-ass eyes coming up into your face like that. I wouldn't even be scared of him. I would just be offended. Like, why are you getting your, like, ugly all up in my face, bro? Like, back up. Your intimidation tactics? Nah, bro. It's not going to work. All right? You're like, nah, bro. That would not work on me. And I highly doubt it worked on him.
And I replied.
Look at him. Look at that face. See that smile?
We are friends. If you don't think I can burn your house down and that I'm not doing everything and I'm not going to do everything, you're wrong. You need to settle this case.
Okay. And so what was the point of that conversation? What was, if you can explain?
Look at him talking shit in the corner. See, I never even said that. See, what really happened was I told him, he was like, bro, Alex Murdaugh is a bullshitter at heart. That is what he does best. That is all he knows.
To the court, what y'all were talking about, what is Alec upset to as you understood it?
That he was going to have to pay was what he was hearing. That's what it was. That's what the point of it was. We're friends. I took it as he tried to intimidate me. He didn't intimidate me.
See?
And sort of bully me into backing off.
Dropping the lawsuit? Hell no, bro. We're going straight in.
Was there a?
I would go harder. I'd go home after that exhibit. I'd go review my papers. I'd be like, what else can I drain from the trust fund? Stop playing with me.
Mediation in September of 2019?
There was? No, 20. September of 20.
20. Before we get there, we move into early March of 2020, and we probably all know the answer to this, but what happened in March of 2020 that kind of changed the world?
Yeah, COVID. The court shut down.
The big
Did that have an
COVID.
effect on slowing down things in the court systems?
The big C.
It definitely stopped the court system. We continued to take some depositions,
cases.
primarily law enforcement. It was at the scene early on, and then ultimately, when everything finally shut down, I'm not sure if it's May or April, when then we were sort of confined to our offices.
Did you, during the course of COVID, take the opportunity to sort of present the case to a mock jury to get an idea of how that jury might respond?
I did.
All right. And were the results very favorable for your client and not favorable for Alec?
They were.
Okay. Did you ultimately communicate that fact?
You guys let me know. When they say it's a mock jury, is it like real people there that like sign up to go and listen to your argument and give an answer, or give a verdict, or is it like other lawyers? Or like, I don't get what they mean by a mock jury, but
Defense.
I did.
I'm sure it works out.
Had you come into possession of some social media videos that you believe would be very advantageous to proving your case and achieving a large recovery?
I did.
Because his son can't stay off of
And I
fucking
shared those with
TikTok.
John Tiller.
Not TikTok. His son can't stay off of Snapchat, always snapping and being a jackass. That's the one thing about Alex's son, Paul. But he was 21. Like, what do you expect? But man, when he drank, he just didn't know how to hold his liquor.
Get something marked real quick.
That sucks too. He was that young. He didn't even get to start drinking or really do anything. Like, it's a shame, bro.
Just between myself and Tabor Vox. Tabor is assisting me in the boat crash case.
All right. Could you turn the screen to me real quick, please? All right, there's a reference here at the top. They damn sure aren't a placeholder or venue defendant, but they were hoping so. And then you respond about not walking, just taking $500K and not walking away from someone who's judgment proof. Is that correct?
That's right.
And I'm sure the court is aware, but just very quickly, what's being said there about Alec not being just a placeholder or venue defendant?
Well, so there are a couple of things going on here. In October of 20, I filed a motion to compel. Alec said he was broke. He doesn't have any money. He may be able to cobble together some amount of money, but he's broke. And I didn't believe
Sounds familiar, right? Sounds very familiar.
it. So I filed a motion to compel, and about a week after I'd filed that motion to compel, Danny Henderson, who again was Alec's personal lawyer, came to my partner, said he couldn't believe that we were going after Alec personally, It was a line in the sand that I had crossed, a number of things like that. So
it's all intimidation. This is so clearly intimidation and dirty moves from another camp. And it really shows how Alex Murdaugh thinks. He'll get the advantage on you by any means. He'll play dirty. He'll try to intimidate you personally. If that doesn't work, he'll send his personal lawyer at you. Like, it's crazy. He really felt like he was him.
That's what this conversation is about. And, you know, by November, this is, I think, November of 2020, the Beach family, they want accountability.
They want that bread.
They want a pound of flesh, and whatever that's going to be, it's only going to be through a jury or through a substantial settlement.
Bread.
Let me back up, and we'll get to the motion to compel in a second. You mentioned that you had been told by the defense, essentially, that Alec had no money, correct?
He's broke.
Right. Did they say he could cobble together a certain amount?
Thought he could cobble together $1 million.
$1 million. And did you believe that that was accurate?
It couldn't have been.
All right. And why did you not believe that that was accurate?
Well, when you practice law, not necessarily with, meaning in the same case, but when you go to a roster meeting, if there were 50 cases on the roster in Hampton, Alec may have had 50 or 60 of those percent of those cases. And so
he was
they're
making that
actively
money.
being settled. I know that he's actively making money, and you just can't possibly be broke if you're making money, not the way he was making money. And then beyond that, I mean, my clients have known Alec and his family forever, and so their perspective is that there's generational wealth as well.
Did you, it was $1 million.
And that's crazy. Imagine you send your little girl over to hang out with little Paw, and Pawpaw's driving the boat, and he's fucked up out of his mind and just kills your little girl. And then the family gets to go underneath the police tape, but you have to sit out there while the police hold you back. And then you have to get a lawyer. Man, that's worth millions, bro. I would sue the pants off of them. And that's probably what they did. And I know they won.
Going to be enough money from your client's perspective to settle this case?
It
Hell
wasn't
no.
enough from my perspective.
Okay.
I can explain that if you want.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So one of the things that I didn't appreciate, that I came to appreciate by this point in time is that, and it may not make a whole lot of sense, but if I told a lawyer who does what I do that I'd settled the case, there's a lot of speculation because I've had cases with the firm and members of the firm are my friends that somehow there's a fix on. I think for a long time Alec thought there was a fix on, that he was just a placeholder, a venue defendant.
Right.
And so if I told you I've settled the case, and then the next question would be, what did you settle it for? I said, well, I took the insurance company. If you knew what I know and what plaintiff's lawyers know, you'd think, well, there was a fix. The only reason I would take it is because there was a fix. I didn't see a substantial difference between that number and $1 million. And so I thought that if you told 10 lawyers who were knowledgeable about these kinds of matters, I took $1 million from Alec, who from everyone's perspective has lots of money, is making piles of money, they would think that it was a fix. So before we even get to what's a fair amount, what should you take, you know, the analogy I use with my clients is it's kind of like that show Deal or No Deal. You may have the $1 million suitcase or you may have a zero suitcase, but it's not until there's a significant enough offer that you could do worse that you should settle a case, any case. And that's, and so at $1 million, it just wasn't, there wasn't any risk to them that would prompt me to recommend them to take it.
Did you make any sort of formal or informal offer to them that involved the real property as well as any sort of payment plan?
When I was told that Alec was broke, I offered him a payment plan. Sometimes when you settle cases, medical malpractice cases, for instance, with the JUA, they will make payments. I offered for him to sign over Moselle and the beach house.
Oh, Alex was not doing that. And basically what he's saying, I believe, from my knowledge, is that any lawyer looking at the cases that Alex was settling, they have meetings, they have rosters of different cases. Everybody could see the case. You can kind of track what a certain lawyer is making if you wanted to. So now if I'm here to sue you and you say you're broke and you're settling 5 cases at the same time, and I see these cases are pending settlement, which means you're going to get paid this amount of money, and it's going to be a lot of money. There's no way you can say you're broke. That's bullshit. There's money coming in every other month, every other week. So I see what he's saying there. And, again, that's just the way Alex moves. He's going to play possum. He's going to play like he doesn't have it, so he doesn't have to do it. And he thought he can act like he didn't kill his family. I'm sorry, sir.
Open his books
Different
to see
levels.
that he was broke and then work out a payment plan on the balance.
So when you say, okay, you say he's broke, I don't believe that. Show me the books to prove that. What was your response from Alex's defense?
Well, it was sort of stonewalling to begin with. I mean, ultimately, I got a formal response, which was an objection that prompted the motion to compel in October of 2020. While I'm in Florida, things have changed in terms of what he's done that have changed my perspective, because when I left, I intended to go to Beaufort. By the time I get back, I think I'm staying in Hampton. And so this conversation is, for the first time I've said that I'm gonna leave the case in Hampton. But if I think that Alec has fixed a jury, that he's done anything to affect the outcome of the trial, that I'm gonna sue Paul and Maggie the next day in Beaufort.
He was coming
Was
for
that
blood.
communicated to the defense?
Absolutely.
In the course of your investigation of this case, had you taken depositions of some of the officers who were involved in the investigation?
We did.
And at some point, was that some issues arose that were communicated to the state grand jury?
You're the one that tells me everything happens there is secret, so you tell me, but.
I'm asking you today.
But yes.
It's crazy how everybody is almost like playing makeup like lawyer. Everybody knows each other. It's like your buddy from down the street and you're cross-examining him. It's weird.
Ultimately, and while you were in Florida in March and April of 2021, to your understanding, had the state grand jury reached out to you for information that you had uncovered in your investigation of the investigation into the boat crash?
Correct.
After the murders happened, did that have any effect on your assessment of the case against Alec, and particularly as it relates to the sympathies and the emotion of the case, which can be so important to recovery?
Yes, it did.
Explain that to the court then.
Well, initially, probably say the first week, there was the shock and horror of what had happened. And nobody really thought about anything other than that. But pretty quickly, I recognized that the case against Alec, if he were a victim of some vigilante, would in fact be over. It would.
Wow. So here we go, guys. This is the motive. The actual motive of Mr. Murdaugh is it was all money. He didn't want to pay the settlement for Paul's fuck up. So guess what he did? He blasted him. And of course the mother would figure it out. So he blasted her too. Favorite son might kind of figure out what's happening. Won't say anything about it. Problem solved. Crazy.
Be over.
And explain just quickly to the court why that's the case.
Well, when you're asking for a money judgment, people have to be motivated to give you that money judgment. If you represent Attila the Hun versus some sweet old grandmother, nobody's going to give Attila the Hun money. They would give money to some sweet grandmother. So if
So
Alec had
So
been,
so if Alex so if Alex Murdaugh was the grieving father and widowed husband, the case would drop because nobody is gonna make him pay that much money.
victimized by a vigilante, nobody would have brought a verdict back against Alec. And I had other defendants in the case.
So you just would have dropped
so
it.
I would have ended the case against Alec.
You would have ended the case against Alec with just,
You know, I probably, I mean, certainly there was $500,000 in insurance that was offered. I may have tried to see if he could cobble together the $1 million, but whatever the last offer would have been from Alec's side, that would have been the offer that we took.
That's crazy to actually think. That Alex killed half of his family out just to avoid paying that money, that payout. And you know, the way he was saying it was probably like, you know, Paul fucked up anyway. You know, it's gotta happen. I don't really have the money right now. I have all this shit happening. I don't really fuck with Maggie anymore anyway. I'm gonna have to take care of him.
you had mentioned before that you had advised the defense of some of the mock jury presentations that you had done and some of the results from that and how they were very favorable to your case. Is that correct?
The defense and some of Alec's partners, but yes.
And it's fair to say, though, that as you just stated, that if Alec had been the victim of some sort of vigilante, those sympathies would have entirely changed as it related to Alec and Paul as well. Is that correct?
Certainly.
And that's led to what your assessment then in the wake of these murders. Is that correct?
Correct.
His whole reason for being here is to show that if Paul killed his family members, those two, he would have benefited greatly from it. But how do you benefit? It's kind of like you win, but at what cost? You know what I mean? But how do you do that and just keep on living? Were they just that expendable? Like, were they just that, like, you know, have them or don't, whatever. Don't really care. Because that's cold-blooded if that was the case, if that's how he really felt about him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Now, crazy situations that we really found the motive, in my opinion, so far. Just the sparking motive. There's probably different things in there, but the number one motive was that money man. He could not handle that payout for whatever reason. Now, we're going to continue with this case, take it all the way to its grave. We have a few more witnesses to go, so that's going to be interesting. But until then, people, stay inside, stay safe, and again, watch out for your relatives, man. You might not know them as well as you think you do. Love y'all. See you later.